All right, so we're prepping for a language engineer interview.
Exciting stuff.
And we've got a ton of great resources from RoleCatcher,
Oh, yeah.
career guides and interview guides, even some cool insights into how AI can help tailor answers.
Definitely a game changer.
Let's dive into these resources and get you ready to really impress those interviewers.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the basics, like what exactly does a language engineer even do?
Well, the RoleCatcher Career Guide actually describes it as bridging the gap between human communication and how a machine understands it.
That sounds pretty complex.
It is complex, but just think about it every time you use a voice assistant or get a document translated online, or you even see suggested text when you're typing.
Right.
Those are all interacting with the work of a language engineer.
Wow.
They're the ones building the systems that allow computers to process and understand human language.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But how do they actually do that? What does that look like day to day?
Well, it involves a mix of programming skills and linguistic knowledge.
Okay.
So, for example, they might use Python to develop algorithms, analyze large data sets of text and speech.
Okay.
Or they might use their understanding of syntax and semantics to create rules that help machines interpret the meaning of words and sentences.
Wow, okay, so it's a pretty technical role.
It is.
I can see why the interview questions can be intimidating.
They can be, but with the right prep, you can absolutely conquer them.
Yeah.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in.
Tell me more.
Imagine being able to practice your answers and get AI-powered feedback that's tailored to the specific job that you're applying for.
Yeah, that would be a total game changer.
Right.
It's like having a coach right there with you.
Exactly.
So let's dive into some of these common interview questions and see how to approach them strategically.
Love it.
The RoleCatcher Guide starts off with this classic, what inspired you to become a language engineer? Seems simple enough, but I imagine there's more to it than just listing your favorite subjects in school.
Yeah, you're right. This is your chance to showcase your passion for the field. What really draws you to this work? So think about what initially sparked that interest.
Yeah.
Was it a fascination with languages, a desire to break down communication barriers, maybe even an experience with a really bad machine translation that made you want to just do better?
Oh, I think we've all been there.
Definitely.
But how do you connect that personal story to the bigger picture of what language engineers do?
So think about the impact you want to make.
Okay.
Do you want to improve cross-cultural communication, develop more intuitive voice assistants,
Right.
or create educational tools that make language learning more accessible?
Yeah.
By weaving your personal story into a larger vision, you can really demonstrate your drive and commitment to the field.
That's a great tip. So it's not just about what you say, but it's how you say it.
Exactly.
And it sounds like RoleCatcher's AI can even help you fine-tune that delivery.
Oh, absolutely. Their platform allows you to record your answers and get AI-powered feedback on your pacing, tone, and clarity.
Wow.
So you can practice until you feel really confident and polished.
Okay, that's question one down. What's next on the list?
Another common one is, what area of language engineering excites you the most?
Ooh.
This one digs deeper into your specific interests and how you see yourself contributing to the field.
Okay, so this is where you really get to geek out about all the stuff that gets you fired up, right?
Exactly. Are you fascinated by natural language processing, machine translation, speech recognition? This is your chance to highlight the areas where you're most knowledgeable and enthusiastic, and it also gives the interviewers insight into where you might fit best within their team.
That makes sense, but what if you're interested in multiple areas? Is it okay to mention more than one?
Absolutely. In fact, it shows that you have a broad understanding of the field and are open to exploring different possibilities. You could even talk about how your interests intersect and how you see yourself contributing to those interdisciplinary areas.
Okay, so far so good. Let's move on to another question that seems to pop up a lot. How do you approach designing and developing language models?
All right.
This one sounds a lot more technical.
It is technical, but remember, the interviewers aren't expecting you to give a lecture on algorithms or anything.
Right.
They want to see how you think,
Okay.
how you approach complex problems, and how you break those problems down into manageable steps.
So it's about showcasing those problem-solving skills and your ability to translate those complex concepts into actionable plans.
Exactly. Think about it like this. You've been tasked with building a language model for a new voice assistant. Where would you even begin? What are the first steps you would take?
Well, I guess I'd start by figuring out what this voice assistant is even supposed to do. Like, what are its functions? Who is its target audience? What kind of language data would it even need to process?
Excellent. You're already thinking like a language engineer.
Right.
Now take those initial questions and outline the steps you would take to gather data, build the model, test it, and refine it.
Okay, and this is also where I could mention some relevant projects I've worked on, right? To demonstrate that I've actually applied these skills in real-world scenarios.
Exactly. The more specific you can be, the better.
Okay.
For example, don't just say, I built a language model.
Yeah.
Describe the model, the data you used, the challenges you encountered, and the results you achieved.
Okay, and it sounds like RoleCatcher's AI could be a huge help here, too. I mean, imagine being able to input a specific job description and get feedback on how to tailor your answers to that particular role.
It's an incredible tool for making sure your answers are relevant and targeted. Plus, you can use their platform to research different companies and get insights into the culture values and even the specific technologies they use.
Wow, so you can really walk into that interview feeling prepared and confident.
Absolutely. You will have the knowledge, the strategies, and the personalized feedback to really impress the interviewers and land that dream job. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to another question that pops up pretty often in these language engineer interviews.
Yeah.
How do you ensure the accuracy and quality of language models? This one gets at what makes the language model really effective.
Yeah, it's one thing to build a model, but it's another thing entirely to make sure it's actually good at what it's supposed to do.
Exactly. Accuracy and quality are super important in language technology. I mean, what good is a translation app if it just spits out gibberish?
Yeah.
Or a voice assistant that can't even understand your commands?
Right, totally.
Yeah.
So how do you even go about ensuring that a language model is accurate and reliable?
It starts with the data.
Okay.
The quality of the data that you use to train the model has a huge impact on how well it performs.
Right.
If you train a model on a data set that's full of errors, biases, or inconsistencies, well, your model's going to reflect all those flaws.
Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. But even with high-quality data, there are still challenges to overcome.
Like what?
Well, language is incredibly complex and nuanced. There's always going to be some degree of ambiguity.
Yeah.
Models need to be able to handle that gracefully.
Okay, so what are some specific techniques that language engineers use to ensure accuracy?
Ooh, lots of them.
I bet.
One common approach is to use multiple evaluation metrics.
Oh,
These metrics can measure different aspects of a model's performance, like its ability to correctly translate text or identify parts of speech or understand the sentiment of a sentence.
so it's not just looking at one single number. It's more about getting a holistic view of how the model's performing across different tasks.
Exactly. And then there's also error analysis.
Okay.
This involves carefully looking at the mistakes that a model makes and trying to understand why those mistakes are happening. Is it because of a lack of data, a flaw in the algorithm, or maybe even a limitation of the model itself?
That sounds super meticulous. It's
Yeah.
like being a detective for language models.
In a way it is, and it's this attention to detail that separates the good language engineers from the great ones. They're not just building models, they're always trying to make them better.
That makes sense. And this is where RoleCatcher can help you really shine in an interview, right?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being able to practice these technical questions and getting feedback from AI that understand these little nuances.
Oh, for sure. RoleCatcher's AI can provide incredibly valuable insights, especially when it comes to showing off your technical expertise.
Yeah.
You can even upload your resume and get personalized recommendations on how to highlight your skills and experience in a way that really connects with hiring managers.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's like having a personal career consultant in your pocket.
It really is. Okay, let's try another question that comes up often.
Okay.
How do you stay current with the latest advancements in language engineering?
Oh, yeah. This field moves so fast.
It does. Language technology is one of the most rapidly evolving areas of AI.
Yeah, it seems like there's a new breakthrough like every other week.
Right, so staying up to date is essential for any language engineer.
So how do you keep up with this constantly changing field?
Well, first, immerse yourself in the research community.
Okay.
Subscribe to those academic journals, attend conferences like ACL and EMNLP.
What are those?
They stand for the Association for Computational Linguistics and the Conference on Empirical Methods in Natural Language Processing.
Wow. Okay.
You can follow influential researchers on social media.
Okay.
This will keep you up on those cutting-edge ideas and informed about the latest trends.
That's a lot to keep track of.
It can be, but the more you engage with the community, the more natural it becomes. You'll start to see the patterns, identify the key players, and you'll have a deeper understanding of where the field's going.
Okay, what about on the more practical side? How do you apply all these advancements to your work?
Experiment.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to try new tools, libraries, frameworks.
Good.
There's a huge open source community for language tech,
Right.
which means lots of resources. And the more you experiment, the more you learn about what works and what doesn't.
So it's a combo of staying informed and actively experimenting.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you stay up to date too.
Oh, cool.
Their platform gives curated news feeds, job postings, even insights into the emerging trends in the field.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the technical stuff, but let's switch gears a bit and talk about something that's just as important, collaboration.
Right.
Language engineering isn't really a solo thing, is it?
No, not at all. You're often working with teams of other engineers, linguists, product managers, and so many more.
Right. So collaboration is key in this field.
It is. The problems we're tackling are way too complex for any one person to solve alone.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how do you show off your teamwork skills in an interview? I'm sure a question like, describe a project you worked on that needed a whole team of engineers is going to come up.
It probably will, and the key here is to be specific. Don't just say, I worked on a team project.
Okay.
Describe the project, your role, the challenges you faced, and how you contributed to making it a success.
So paint a picture of your experience and highlight what you brought to the team.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to talk about those soft skills needed for collaboration.
Right.
Things like communication, conflict resolution, giving and receiving feedback are all super important when you're working on a team.
And those are skills you can show off even if you haven't worked on a huge project.
Exactly. Maybe you collaborated on an open source project or even just a group assignment in school.
Yeah, any experience where you had to work with others can be valuable in an interview.
Right. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you frame those experiences so they connect with hiring managers.
Okay.
They can even help you find companies that are known for their team environments.
So it's not just about getting a job, it's about finding the right fit.
Exactly. And the more you know about how you work, the better you'll be at finding a company that you can really thrive in.
This is all really helpful, but let's be real. One of the most nerve-wracking parts of any interview is, what are your salary expectations?
Yeah.
How do you even answer that?
It's a question that can make people squirm, but it's important to remember that you are worth something. You deserve to be compensated for your skills and experience.
Right.
So do some research.
Okay.
Use online resources like Glassdoor or Salary.com to see the average salary range for language engineers in your area.
So it's about knowing your worth and being prepared to say it.
Exactly. But what happens if their offer is lower than you were hoping for?
Yeah, that's my question.
That's where you negotiate.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to counter their offer. Explain your reasoning, highlight your skills and experience, and be confident.
Okay, so confidence is key.
It is, and this is another place where RoleCatcher is a big help.
Oh, how so?
Their AI can give data-driven insights into salary trends, help you figure out what's fair and competitive for your skills.
And they can even help me, like, practice saying it.
Yeah, their platform can even help you come up with a good strategy and practice your delivery so you're confident and ready for those salary conversations.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've covered a ton today.
We have.
But there's one big question we haven't talked about yet.
What's that?
It's the question on everyone's minds when it comes to AI. What happens to language engineers as AI gets better and better at language?
Yeah.
Are the machines going to replace us all?
Well, it's the question of the hour, isn't it? But here's the thing. It's not about being replaced. It's about evolving.
Okay, I like that. Evolve or become obsolete, right?
So think about it as AI gets better at those more routine tasks. It frees up human language engineers to focus on the more complex creative challenges.
Right.
We can go deeper into the nuances of language, explore new things with human-computer interaction, and really push the limits of what we can do with language technology.
So it's not a threat. It's an opportunity to take our skills to a whole other level.
Absolutely. And the language engineers who are willing to adapt, who embrace new technologies and keep learning those are the ones who will really thrive in this field.
That's encouraging. And that's where RoleCatcher can help, right?
Yes, they can.
With all that learning and stuff.
Yeah. Their platform offers those personalized learning paths, skilled assessments, and even connections to mentors and industry experts.
Wow. So they can help you stay ahead of the game.
They can.
And set you up for success in this really exciting and rapidly changing field.
For sure.
Okay, I think we've given our listeners plenty to think about today.
Definitely.
But before we wrap things up, I want to touch on one more important part of the interview process.
What's that?
First impressions.
Oh, yeah. Those are important, especially in a field like language engineering.
Yeah, you want to walk into that interview feeling confident and prepared and ready to show your best self.
For sure.
So any tips on making a great first impression?
Absolutely. First, dress professionally.
Okay.
You don't need a suit and tie, but look put together.
Right.
Second, be on time, even a few minutes early, shows that you respect their time.
Okay, that's pretty standard. But what about something more specific to language engineering?
Show your passion for language.
Ooh.
This is what really makes you stand out.
Okay.
Talk about your favorite books on language technology. And be curious about how language works.
So let your language geek flag fly.
Exactly. Authenticity is key.
Okay.
When you're genuinely excited about something, it shows.
Yeah.
And that enthusiasm is contagious.
That's great advice. But what about when you're feeling nervous? Like, how do
Yeah.
you stay calm under pressure?
Just remember to breathe.
Okay.
Take a few deep breaths before the interview to calm your nerves.
Right.
And if you get flustered during the interview, don't be afraid to pause and collect your thoughts.
That's a good one. It's easy to forget to breathe.
It really is. And remember, the interviewers are human too.
Yeah.
They know you might be nervous.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there. So just try to relax, be yourself, and focus on your skills and experience.
That makes me feel better. And this is where RoleCatcher can really help too, right?
It is.
I mean, imagine being able to practice your answers, like in a fake interview, and get feedback on your delivery, your pacing, even your body language.
It's a great tool for building confidence and getting rid of those pre-interview jitters.
Yep.
And the best part about AI is that it's completely objective.
Right.
So you're getting unbiased insights from something that's meant to help you improve.
It's like having a personal coach who's totally on your side.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more confident you'll feel going into the real deal.
Okay, so we talked about being authentic, being enthusiastic, staying calm, and practicing with AI. But there's one more piece of advice that I think is crucial.
What's that?
Be curious.
Oh, I love that curiosity is so important for a good language engineer.
It is.
It's what drives us to explore new ideas, try new technologies, and really push the limits of what's possible.
So how do you show off that curiosity in an interview?
Ask questions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to engage with the interviewers. Ask about their work, their challenges, their vision for the field.
Okay.
It shows that you're not just trying to get a job, but that you're actually interested in the company and contributing to it.
So you're turning the interview into more of a conversation.
Exactly. And it also lets you get info that can help you see if this is the right fit.
Yeah.
Remember, the interview goes both ways. You're evaluating them just as much as they're evaluating you.
So it's about finding a company where you can do your best work.
Exactly. And with the right prep, the right mindset, and the right tools, you can definitely land that dream language engineering job.
Awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And speaking of preparation, let's go back to RoleCatcher for a sec.
Right.
We've talked about how their AI can help you with your answers and get feedback,
Right.
but it can do so much more than just prep for the interview.
Yeah, it's like a whole career toolkit right there in your hands.
Exactly. Their platform can help you explore all the different career paths within language engineering.
Oh, wow.
It can help you find companies that match your values and even connect you with mentors and industry experts.
So it's like a personalized roadmap guiding you to your dream job.
It is, and they offer a free trial so you can try it out.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about tech skills, soft skills, and even those big questions about the future of the field.
Yeah, we have.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about the actual interview itself.
Okay.
It's one thing to know all the stuff, but it's a whole other thing to actually be in that interview.
Definitely. You're right. It's not just about remembering facts and figures.
Right.
It's about connecting with the people interviewing you, showing off your personality, and showing that you'd be a great addition to their team.
So any tips on really nailing that interview and making a good impression?
Well, first of all, just be yourself.
Okay.
Let your passion for language and technology really shine through.
Right.
Don't try to be someone you're not. They want to see the real you, the person who is genuinely excited about this field and wants to contribute.
So don't put on a show, just be you.
Exactly. And that includes showing your enthusiasm. If you're excited about a project or a new development in the field, let it show. Let that passion come through in your voice and even your body language.
So it's okay to let my inner language geek out a little bit.
Absolutely. In fact, it's encouraged.
All right.
It shows you're interested and invested, and that's what companies want.
Okay, good to know. But what about when you're feeling nervous? Like, how do you stay calm when you're under pressure?
Breathe.
Okay.
Take a few deep breaths before you go in to calm your nerves.
Right.
And if you feel yourself getting flustered during the interview, just pause for a second to gather your thoughts.
That's a good tip. It's easy to forget to breathe.
It is. And remember, the people interviewing you are human too.
Yeah.
They get it. They've been there. So relax, be yourself, and focus on what you know.
Okay, and this is where RoleCatcher can be so helpful too, right?
It is.
Imagine practicing your answers like in a mock interview and get feedback on how you're doing your pacing,
Yeah.
even your body language.
It's really helpful for building confidence and getting rid of those nerves.
Yeah.
And the great thing about AI is that it's totally objective. You're not getting feedback from a friend or family member who might try to spare your feelings.
Yeah.
It's unbiased insights from something that's built to help you improve.
Like a totally honest coach who's on your team.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more confident you'll be when you walk into that interview.
So we've talked about being authentic, showing enthusiasm, staying calm, and practicing with AI.
We have.
But there's one more piece of advice I think is really important.
What's that?
Be curious.
I love that.
Curiosity is a sign of a great language engineer.
It is. It's what drives us to explore new things, experiment with new technology, and push the limits of what's possible.
So how do you show that curiosity in an interview?
Ask questions.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask the interviewers about their work, their challenges, their
Right.
vision for the field.
Okay.
It shows that you're not just looking for a job, but you're truly interested in the company and want to be a part of it.
Yes, you're turning it into a conversation.
Exactly. And you get information to help you figure out if it's even the right fit.
Right. It goes both ways.
It does. You're checking them out as much as they're checking you out.
So it's all about finding the perfect fit, the place where you can do your best work.
Exactly. And with the right prep, the right mindset, and the right tools, you can absolutely get your dream job in language engineering.
I love it. Well, we've covered so much ground today, from technical skills to those all-important soft skills, and from interview prep to the big questions about where this field is heading.
It's been a great deep dive.
It really has. And I hope our listeners feel ready to go after their passions in this amazing and constantly evolving field. Remember, the future of language is in your hands.